Let's get some thread. I got my little thing. What I don't have are not old man eyes. See how this works. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this kind of crappy cross stitch kit. I don't want to say it's crappy. I don't want to diminish anybody who loves cross stitch Kinkade Cinderella kits. And I've been working on this piece for a couple years, since 2016. I took a break from my baby. But now, working on it again. And so what I've been doing is selectively modifying it. You can see in the back somewhere. Oh, I guess there's a delay. It says, if wishes were fishes, we'd all cast nets. And so what I've been doing with this piece is just going back and forth, front and back, kind of creating drawings, creating lines, creating little areas of things that layer and layer and layer on top of each other with different intersection points, different drawing points, different threads overlapping, official, correct stitchings around incorrect stitchings. We've got some checkerboards and some missing stuff. And so far what I've been doing is avoiding green in the official one, except for this little nasty sister's house. So this, what I'm doing now, is just working on my piece. You can join me or not. I gotta get this like stitch guide. So my goal is to get this gray and this walkway. I'm gonna do this walkway and this house. And I think I'm gonna turn a lot of this black and white. I'm gonna start drawing in different icons, and I don't know, whatever occurs to me as I'm making it. You know, art. Getting started is always the hardest part. I think I gotta take my glasses off, I can't see. Something I like about the meditation of it all. It was very almost like auto drawing. It's deciphering all these arcane symbols that are completely arbitrary, and you can put anything you want in them. Or not. You put what somebody else decides to put in them. There's a lot of counting. I was told there would be no math. This is where I'm going, right here. Right here. So right there. This one. Lose a thread, figuratively and literally. Oh, and I did it in the wrong spot. Great. No, I didn't. I did it in the right spot. Damn it. A lot of little moments I like in this piece. I really have only the vaguest idea of where it's going. So far I've been just giving myself rules and instructions and sort of like little game parts to decide what to do, what not to do. What to stitch from the original design, what to change, what order to do things in, which layers. There we go. Which pieces come first, which pieces don't get put in. When we were isolating up at the cabin, I replaced these pieces. Normally they were a lot shorter, so I could only see a part of the whole thing at once, and that was not so great in terms of getting a feel of what everything is going on, or being able to look at the whole thing at once, but it was certainly easier to reach my arms around. Now what you do is you lock that thread in place. Make sure it's not going to come apart. That looks good to me. And if I miss a chat message, I'm sorry. I'm trying to use this restream chat thing that aggregates all the chats in one place, but I don't know if it works. I missed one last time. Didn't seem to show Facebook comments. Oh, now I got a tangle. Damn, I think I need my jeweler's glasses. Stupid knot. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Let me find my glasses. Maybe. I don't know where they went. They're over here. I couldn't find them, but I found the magnifiers, at least. Oh yeah, that's not gonna work. Fuck it. Oh, damn it. The worst. The long thread, and then it gives you. There we go. Very nice. If you're interested in the art of stitching, there's a book back there called Queer Threads, Crafting Identity and Community by John Chaich and Todd Oldham. A friend of mine, I worked on a project for a friend of mine, Aubrey Longley Cook, and he did a RuPaul cross-stitch workshop, and that's what got me back into cross-stitching as an art form, where he took a GIF of RuPaul, certain face, broke it down into individual frames, and then assigned each person their own frame, and then they could use all these symbols and apply any colors they wanted to it. And then he photographed and animated them all, and it was pretty gorgeous. And it's in the book. Normally I don't get much time to sit and work for long with the baby, and opening an art center keeps quite busy. But that first week that the coronavirus hit, we had just happened to schedule a trip up to the family cabin in Kingston, Georgia. So we were all up there, and I brought my stitching, and I set up a nice little mini studio in the bunkhouse and got back into it. And now I'm excited to keep working on it. I do need to mark off what I've done with a marker of some sort. Maybe. Maybe not. I've gotten everything back here set up again. Alright, guess what? We're going to use a red pencil. Oh wait, here it is. And then as I've been going, I've been taking pictures after every session. So I'll have a nice, interesting, hopefully stop time lapse of the whole thing. And then I've also been taking little shots and sections of it and sort of breaking those out into their own derivative works. And then there's this whole thing too, which is going to be, you know, these like color by number kind of is how it comes out. Then I filled in like with my own text and stuff. So that's going to be something else too. But this will then end up being an anchor piece that branches out and has several more works associated with it. There we go. Rise up. I like the idea about, you know, this whole DIY, paint by numbers, do a kit, follow somebody else's instructions, and you know, even if you haven't spent the time, or if you have, developing an artistic practice, you can make something that resembles an artwork, at least in appearance and form. So for me, it's kind of interesting breaking that down, thinking about, so what happens if I just represent a single piece of DIY artwork? Maybe doing it, maybe not, but like, what does that speak to? You know, it's funny, I've got all these nice cameras floating around for my art practice, and then I tried hooking them up to the computer for live streaming, and like none of them worked. Get like a GoPro, a Canon, a couple of Canons, and then a black magic box that just shows black screens. So now we're working with crappy USB webcams, which is sad, but do what you got to do with what you got to do it with. A lot of my work ends up coming back to this sort of idea of the labor involved in a thing as being the value structure, as opposed to, say, the thing itself having some kind of inherent or mystical value. You know, like the holy art object or something. Aura. What is it? The hero aura of the art object. Oh, motherfucker. Ah. I think I nodded it again. Stupid dumbass of a bane in my existence. Not really. Maybe snoring. I've got so many different projects going on from a, I don't know, like a creative entrepreneurial standpoint that I really miss just sitting in the studio, piece by piece, putting something together, making it into something that exists in the world. Having no idea how it's going to turn out. Could suck. Could be cool. I'll probably be dissatisfied either way. Which I guess is what keeps you creating. Like Giacometti kept trying to make the perfect form. Never succeeded, but he got a lot of artwork out of it. Can't keep track. Shit though. No. Is that the right spot? There wasn't the right spot. I'm in the wrong spot. I think it's okay. I also deal a lot with mistakes or mutations or the translation of a process from one thing, one version to another, one mode to another. To say like Disney's Cinderella, the original Disney show, movie, animation, then getting painted by Thomas Kinkade, then getting turned into a cross-stitch kit of that painting by Thomas Kinkade, then getting stitched by me and manipulated by me and turned into other things and now documented in different ways. So I don't know, I like that. It's interesting. Something kind of metronomic about repeating the same small task over and over and over and over. It's kind of like a metronome out of time. You're doing the same thing, but there's slight variations and slight slips and slides, and it gets pushed and pulled. One might be half a second, then a full second, then 120 BPM, then 30 BPM. And sometimes you get on little rolls, and then you've got like a fast dance song at 220 BPM or something. There's something soothing about doing a repetitive task over and over. It sort of calms your inner demons and the voices that run around in your head all day. So many X's. X's and O's. Shit. This is apparently just going to be me cursing a lot. Maybe making mistakes. It's like everything I do is designed to create failures and mistakes and sort of repossessions of the truth of a thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost had a knot. Pulled it out before it got bad. That's what she said. There's also something appealing about working with something that, you know, might be large and popular, but among the so-called elites is looked down upon, or I don't know, anti-art. I mean, there's just been cycles and cycles of that, going from craft to art. You know, I mean, fucking Beanie Babies and Hummels and shit. And Kinkades. Kinkades are, I don't know. Used to hate them, but I've come to have an appreciation for them on their own terms, for his paintings. I don't think I would ever want one in my house. But it's funny, I showed a relative at one point the original of this, and they were like, oh, we should put that in the baby's room. And I said, or not. Do something that's not this. As in, not my work, but a print of the Kinkade. She can have my work in her room if she wants. But only if she wants. You know, you look at things of like, what's the difference between price and value? You know, you can have a high price on something and it can have a low value, like Beanie Babies at the height of their thing, or any collectible or anything really that's been sort of manufactured to be desired and wanted, and as such the price goes up. But then, because people are willing to pay more for it, but then is it, you know, what is the value of that thing? Is there a value just for an individual? Is there a value collectively? Is there a value for our society, our tribe, our group Does it give us status? Does it give us pleasure to look at? I don't think I've ever heard an art collector say, I do it for the money. I buy paintings and artworks because I hope one day that the artist will make it and I can raise the prices and then sell the artwork and make a profit. Everybody says that price has no bearing whatsoever on the artwork they collect, but it kind of does. I think it's kind of inevitable. You can't really escape it. You know, it's a commodity. It's a piece of thing that is exchanged for goods and services. So the higher the price of a thing, the more perceived value that thing has. And that's been true probably forever. Since the first cave person Louis Vuitton bag. I don't know. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2. Damn it, where'd I go? I lost myself again. Oh yeah, here's a fun tip. These are friction erasable pens from Japan. I went kind of crazy and bought like 50 of them. They really do erase. They're not like those old janky red-blue pens. What were they with the reds on the outside? Anyway, but they erase not by removing material, but by creating heat and friction with the little eraser nub. So what that also means is that if you leave it in your car, all your drawings disappear. So don't do that. But that's okay, because then I found out that you can put them in the freezer and they come back. Alright, shit. You know, just the organization of this thing. Just trying to like keep track of doing it the right way, quote unquote. And trying to find those gaps where I can do it the wrong way. Or do it in a way that takes the right way and pushes it a little bit, which sometimes just involves doing the right way a lot. Till it gets to a certain point. And then you can fuck with it. Be really nice to get a camera that I can, or hook up my GoPro so I can at least see nice and close. That's one of the things I like, is just watching the thread get pulled through. And then a little snug tug. That is innuendo. Go ask your parents. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Found a postcard of Richard Prince. There it is, one of her nurses. I thought it would be appropriate. It's from like a 90s Richard Prince Guggenheim show. And I thought it would be fun to have in our COVID isolationism. Alright, we're going to do a few more, then wrap it up for this one. I like just the little shapes that these things end up forming. These little clusters of things, of stitches and groupings and color. You know, like when you do silk screening or you posterize in Photoshop and you just reduce a thing to these base geometric forms, where up close they don't really have much meaning, but then you back up and your eyes blend them together, or like halftones. So I like halftones a lot. Use those a lot. I thought about trying to figure out how to get halftones into a cross stitch, but I think that's gonna be another project. One of the things I think I'm going to work on when this gets to a point of the base layer being where I like it is really just pulling out of the grid. Because right now, square. So thinking about, you know, pulling at these threads, overlaying them, redoing them, stitching through them again over and over and over and over again, making clumps and distortions and pushing the fabric apart and just seeing what you can do with it. So I'm looking forward to that, but who knows when the hell that... I think that's a good session for now, just to get the juices flowing. Alright, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.